Hi everyone, so today I am coming live from the chicken run. As you can see, here's some chickens. Here is the chicken run. And the reason I'm in the chicken run is because today I am talking about chicken lice. Lovely. So we've had chickens here for 4 years now, and this is the first time I've experienced chicken lice. So as you can imagine, I was a bit freaked out by it. So I'm here to tell you there's nothing to be freaked out by, and it's completely normal. Lice live on most animals and particularly birds, and it is nothing that you've done to make them have lice. It's nothing about you not keeping your coop or your run clean enough. It really isn't. So this is what happened for us. So what happened was I noticed that Betty, she's not coming. Betty had a patch on her back where she'd pulled out some feathers. Now, first of all, I thought she was molting because this happens obviously quite regularly and it's springtime. So I didn't pay too much notice of it for a day or two, and then I thought, no, this doesn't look right. And I noticed that Edna was coming and pecking at her. So I took Betty in and had a look. And first off, where she'd pulled out some feathers, there was a little wound. And around the feathers, I noticed something move. And I thought, oh, what's that? So I looked, and there was some little white things sort of moving around. Anyway, so freaked out. Made sure I cleaned Betty's wound out with an animal safe antiseptic, and then I sprayed the wound with this, which is a gentian violet spray, and what it does is it covers the wound, and it basically sprays purple over the wound, because chickens are very much attracted to red. So anything red like blood, they will just peck and just keep going, and obviously I didn't want it to get infected, so we sprayed the wound, and we kept Betty separate at night time in a separate coop so that there wasn't any pecking going on out of her wound. So that was that. So good stuff. So the wound was covered, but then I suddenly had to work out about these lice, work out what they were. So I did lots of searching and lots of research and found out that they were just chicken lice. And nothing to panic about. So what we did is we inspected Betty to check her for any, whether she had an infestation or just whether she had a few lice. So we checked her behind the neck, at the back, under the wings, just to have a good look at her skin. I was really pleased to say that on inspection, I could only really see a few when I looked at the sort of the scruff of the neck under there. And I couldn't find any signs of an infestation, because usually if there's an infestation, you'll see at the base of the feathers the eggs are sort of laid, and it can look like a clump of sort of grey mass, and she didn't have any of that anywhere. So that was fantastic. So we then checked all the other chickens, and no sign of lice whatsoever. Brilliant. So what we did to make sure that the lice went on Betty and obviously didn't get on to any other chicken is we used this spray, which is Anti-Fort Mite Stop. It smells very strongly of lemons, like citronella, and we sprayed that behind the neck in the same areas, at the base of the tail, under the wings, just to make sure we're covered in all areas for the lice. So we did that on Betty, and we did that on all of the girls, and I'm pleased to report that no more lice. So that was quite easy to get rid of because we'd spotted them early on Betty and we didn't have an infestation, so that was great. Now I also want to say that the lice, they live on the birds, they don't live on humans. So although it might make you feel itchy thinking about lice, they can't live on you. They may on occasion bite you, but they can't live on you and infest you, so don't panic about that. They also don't live on the coop either, so not like red mites that can infest the coop and get in every nook and cranny in the coop and cause you an absolute nightmare. within the coop. This is not the same thing. So obviously I advise cleaning everything very, very thoroughly anyway, as you should be. We have done a thorough spring cleaning here yesterday, and we cleaned out all the coops and we sprayed it all with mite spray and everything. So we're all up to date with our cleaning. However, don't panic with the lice. They are lice, they're not mites. It's a different thing. So all was good there. What I will say with a tip with this, if you use a spray, particularly if you use this spray, I don't mind the smell of citronella. However, it will get on everything. So I didn't wear gloves because I'm not too opposed to the smell. However, if you are opposed to the smell, I would definitely wear gloves, because no matter how much you wash your hands, it will last on there for quite a few days. Also, because the chickens were quite wriggly, and although despite me having a towel over my lap, I got citronella smell all over my jacket, and that really stunk the house out. So that had to go in the washing machine and get washed as well. So I highly recommend wearing gloves or something that you can just put in the washing machine. So that was the spray there. The other thing you can do, if you don't want to use spray, which people have varying degrees of success with, is use a thing called diatomaceous earth. Now, diatomaceous earth comes in different grades, and I would highly recommend, if you're using it for your chickens, that you use a food grade, the highest grade diatomaceous earth that you can find. Simply because, well, the clue's in the name, it's food grade, it's made to be, you can use it as human beings, and we all want to use the best things for our chicken. You can find feed grade, but I would always recommend food grade. What diatomaceous earth does, it's a powder, and it doesn't kill the lice or mites or anything else by any kind of poisoning or anything. That what it does is it sort of dries them out, and they sort of suffocate, I guess. So that's what that does. What you have to be careful with that is, because it is a very fine dust, you have to make sure you are careful with regards to yourself and also your chickens for the respiratory system. You don't want to be breathing that stuff in. So with this in mind as well, you want to get food grade, and if you've got food grade, you're going to have the highest grade anyway, because there are two types really of diatomaceous earth. You've got one which is amorphous diatomaceous earth, and then one which is crystalline diatomaceous earth. And the one that is amorphous is less damaging, if you like. If it is inhaled, it's much easily repelled, whereas your very crystalline, lesser grade diatomaceous earth is going to cause a lot of irritation in the lungs for yourself and for your birds. So if you're going to go down the diatomaceous earth route, please get the highest grade that you can. With diatomaceous earth, you can put it in the dust bath, so that they're always, it's being used and as a preventative for the lice. And if, for example, you don't want to use the spray, then you can use it and dust it onto the chickens in the same way as you would with the spray, behind the neck and under the wings, etc. So that can be used, and some people have fantastic success with that. Other people say it doesn't work. I've not used it, as I say, to treat lice, because I've only ever had this one experience with lice. I have used it in dust baths. It can also be used in the coop as a preventative as well. You clean the coop and then you dust the whole coop down with it and put it in the bedding as well. Again, you want to be careful. You want to make sure you do this in an open area and not in anywhere enclosed, and make sure that the dust is settled before you put the birds in. But again, different people have different ways of dealing with these things. So if you've had fantastic experiences with diatomaceous earth, please let us know, because I'd be really interested to hear what you have to say. So that was our experience with chicken lice. So really what I want to leave you with from this is the main thing is, don't panic. If you see chicken lice on your chickens, whether that be on their skin or whether they're, you know, really infested and you see them on their feathers. Please don't panic. Obviously, it's easier to deal with if you've caught it early, as we did, but it's not a massive problem as long as you deal with it. Please don't leave it, because like with anything, it's going to make your chickens very uncomfortable and itchy, and it can also lead to anemia with the constant biting, obviously, of these lice. So please don't leave it. However, don't panic. Do not panic. There's always a way. Secondly, it is not your fault. Unless you're completely filthy and never clean your chickens out, then, which I'm sure that is not the case, it's not your fault. Birds particularly, they get lice, and don't worry about it, okay? It's not something you've done. You're not a bad chicken mum or dad, and all will be well. And thirdly, if you're going to use the diatomaceous earth route for prevention or cure for your lice, always please go with food grade, the highest grade that you can find, and it's readily available on everywhere, you know, pet shops, Amazon, eBay, all sorts of places. It's really easy to get hold of. So there we go. They're my top tips for lice on chickens. I hope you find that helpful. Please remember to like and subscribe to the video, and drop us any comments, questions you have. Be happy to hear from you. Thanks guys, have a great day.